I've said it many
I've been wanting to do a gear
times
video for some time now, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Actually, I'm going to break it into 3 different videos so they're not too long each. This first video is going to be on my gear only. Video number 2 will be on clothing, and number 3 will be on food and water. This first video again is on gear, which ends up being a total weight of about 13 pounds as my base weight. A little confusing. That 13 pounds is my gear and my clothing, my base weight. But this first video, again, is going to be just on gear only. Kathy and I are going to head out in a couple of weeks, and we're going to do the remainder of Section A of the trail, which we're going to do the portion from Mount Laguna to Warner Springs. It's about 72 miles, and we're going to do a layover day in Julian, by the way. So anyway, I only live about 300 yards from where I'm sitting right now, so let's head on over to my place and check out the gear. Our bags are ULA. I like to call them ULA because they have an umlaut over the U, the ULA circuit. And the reason why we chose this particular backpack is because it's considered to be an ultralight backpack. We love the features and the designs of it, the way it's constructed, the fact that it's a roll top, the big pocket in the front, the large pockets on the side, the really nice large hip belt, that kind of stuff. And then the quality is outstanding on these. It weighs 2.1 pounds. That's what qualifies it as an ultralight. And the cost was around $235. Our tent, again, is considered to be an ultralight 2-person tent. This is, you might recognize it, this is the MSR Hubba Hubba NX tent, it's called. It's a 2-person tent. And we chose it because it's ultralight, because it's a 2-person tent. And the quality is very, very high on these. What you're looking at right here, this is the tent, the fly, the ground cover, and the poles and the stakes all in this bag. It weighs a total of 3 pounds and 7 ounces. Kathy and I divided it up, so we ended up carrying about 1.75 pounds of it each, and the cost was $400. Okay, on to the sleeping bags. This is my bag. Mine's green on the inside, and Kathy's is a pink. That's because REI makes this version of the Igneous bag actually in 2 different styles, one for men, one for women. I believe the woman's version is called a gilet. I'm probably saying that correctly. But this is the REI Igneous bag. Here's why we bought it. We bought it because of its lightweight. It's a very lightweight bag, but it is a 25-degree bag, and it's a very high quality. Used it a lot and have never been cold. And so great bag. Again, I use the Igneous, Kathy uses the gilet, and the weight on these is 1 pound, 10 ounces, and the cost was $270. For our sleeping pads, what we almost always do is we double up. We actually take 2 with us, and I'll explain why. Our main pad is the REI Rail. This is a closed cell, blow-up style mattress, and I'll get into the features in a second. And then our other pad is one that's very ubiquitous on the trail. You see these everywhere. This is the Thermarest Z-Lite. And so this is our primary pad. This one we use as a backup, so we have extra cushioning, but also you can open it up. You keep it on the outside of your pack. You open it up, and you can use it to rest on during lunchtime, just sitting on a sharp rock or on dirty ground, in camp. So it comes in handy, and it weighs nothing. As far as the REI Rail goes, we chose that because of the lightweight, and its size and its length are good for us. And then the side rails right here, when these blow up, they form a tube down the side, and it keeps me, at least, from rolling off of my pad all the time. So it's kind of a nice feature. It acts like a little bumper on the side. And it weighs 1 pound and 9 ounces. The Z-Lite is an ultralight, obviously, and it has a lot of versatility, like I just told you, for resting and sitting and whatnot. It weighs 14 ounces and cost $45. Trekking poles, not much to say about these, except that we do like them. These are the REI Traverse shock lights. We bought them because they are lightweight, and they have a built-in shock absorber. So as you're going downhill especially, it takes some of the shock out of the pounding against the pole, against the ground all the time. So that is a nice feature. They weigh 14 ounces, and they cost $80 a pair. A little hint, these are getting really worn out, and when I do upgrade, I'm going to change over to the Black Diamond Alpine. I think that's even a better pole than these, although we've had these for about 3 years and they've served us well. Okay, our sun umbrella. This is a very useful piece of equipment, although I have heard some good and bad things about them. Some people don't like them mainly because of wind issues, but I can't see going out on the Pacific Crest Trail, particularly in the desert sections, without one of these. You can remove this handle right here, but to save weight, but it's nice, again, when it's windy outside, to put your hand through that to help you hold on to it. So this particular umbrella is a Light Flex Chrome from Gossamer Gear. We bought it because it is lightweight and it provides great sun and light wind and rain protection. It weighs 8 ounces and it costs $39. This is a photograph of an iPhone because I'm filming this video with my iPhone. So I'll make a point with this in a second. When it comes to knowing where you're at and orienteering yourself, I think redundancy is king. So I always carry paper maps with me. Right here I'm showing an actual map, and here I'm showing elevations. I carry both of those. And then for redundant purposes, I carry a lot of apps on my phone. Let me go through the apps that I have with you. Again, this is a photograph because I'm filming with my phone. But what I have on my phone all the time is a compass. And of course I carry an actual compass with me. I have Doppler radar, so I can see the movement of the clouds and rainstorms and that kind of stuff. I have an altimeter, so I know the altitude. I have a Gaia GPS, so I have a GPS backup. I have the Gut Hooks hiking guides, which everybody has. Those are great to have. I have the half-mile PCT maps, and also great maps to have. And I have the Garmin EarthMate app synced up with my PLB, which I'll show you later on in the video. So very important to have. Carry hard maps with you and carry apps with you, so you can double, triple check. You have redundancies in case you lose one breaks. Total weight for the maps, let's call it 1 ounce. Depends on how many maps you're carrying, of course. And I'm going to say on the apps, the total cost was around, I don't know, $100, but half of them are free. Other paperwork. What I'm showing you here is this is a hiking permit for our next hike here. This is the actual permit. And then, of course, a California campfire permit. These are things that you have to have legally to hike on the trail. They're required. They weigh about 1 ounce or less, and they're free, but you've got to have them. You go online to take the test for the campfire permit. It's good for a whole year, easy test to take. And then these you apply for as you need them, and depending upon where you're going to be hiking. I also highly recommend that you keep everything in a baggie to keep it waterproof. Obviously you need a pocket knife or a knife with you when you're hiking for a lot of different reasons, whether you're fishing or cutting open a bag for your lunch, whatever. It's kind of a multi-purpose tool, cutting rope, that kind of thing. You need one. You do not need a large hunting type knife on the trail. In my mind, you do not need one of those Gerber type or Leatherman type tools that have all the screwdrivers and saws and things on them. It's just a lot of weight that you are going to end up carrying but not using, and in my mind that's kind of silly. So I carry a simple little, it's called a Gerber Fine Edge. It's got one little 3-inch blade on it, and it cost $20, and it only weighs 1.4 ounces. So what about personal travel items? Let me show you what I do. I try to keep this really lightweight. There's no reason to carry a big wallet with you. There's no need to carry a bunch of credit cards. There's no reason to carry huge wads of cash. And there's definitely no reason to have, a full set of car keys and house keys with you. So what I do is I pare it down to the bare essentials I need to go on a hike. I have my ID, and I use this as my wallet. I put my cash in here, I put my debit card in here. I fold it up with all I need is my car key so I can get into my car. I can keep the rest of my keys and stuff in the car. So that all goes into a baggie, and I'm good to go. That weighs 3 ounces, and that's all you. Let's talk about cooking and eating and cleanup on the trail. This is the gear you're going to need if you intend on cooking hot food. However, this is all you need if you go stoveless. Let's talk about the cooking option first. This is all the gear you're going to need if you intend on cooking hot meals on the trail. And I call it an option because you do have the option to go stoveless also, which Kathy and I tend to do. But I thought I'd show you this gear in case you want to cook. You know, cooking or not cooking is a personal choice, and it depends upon a lot of things like your lifestyle, what you like to eat and not eat, whether you want warm food on the trail, your personal choices in food, the amount of calories you think you need per day, and those kinds of things. But the biggie for me is that this kit right here with 2 cups of water, which you need to carry if you're going to cook, you need to carry 2 cups of water every time you're going to cook. So this kit right here is about 2 pounds, and that's pretty significant, I think. So if you want to go this way, let's go through this kit and talk about the individual pieces. First of all, we have an MSR mini rocket. It weighs 2.6 ounces and will cost about $30. We have a can of fuel. It's 7 ounces. Will cost you about $5. We have a pot, which runs about $10. We have water, which last time I checked is free. We have 2 ways of making fire. We have a Bic lighter, and we have an Exotac Nano Striker. Combined, these weigh about 1 ounce and will cost you about $30. We have a little container of soap to do dishes with, a little cut-down sponge scrubber that weighs nothing. We have some foil that we would use for a pot top. That weighs pretty much nothing. We have a freezer bag for trash for cleanup. You need to carry a couple of those with you. That's maybe 1 ounce, maybe $1. And then we have for the spoon, we have a Tokes titanium spoon, long handle. These run about $10. Okay, the stoveless or non-cooking option. This is the option that Kathy and I go with 90% of the time, particularly throughout the summer. But it's just the way that we choose to go. And like I mentioned earlier, this is a lot lighter than going with a stove. The stove was a 2 pound option. This option is a 2.6 ounce option. Kind of a no-brainer to me, but again, it's a personal choice. I've included 2 ways of starting fire in here. Again, this is the Bic lighter, and this is a Nano Striker. And I've included those in here because those are, to me, always an important thing to have, whether they're part of your kitchen, part of your safety gear. You never know when you're going to need to start a fire just for the sake of having a campfire, or maybe you got to dry out clothes or something. So those are important, but I'm going to go ahead and remove those and get back to the kit itself. All you need is a baggie for trash and the Tokes spoon. That's all you need. I'll get into the way that going stoveless like this or going stove like the other one I showed you and how that affects your food, because it does. But I'll get into that in an upcoming food video. For now, this is the lightweight option. 2.6 ounces, hard to beat that. Okay, carrying and filtering water on the trail. Kathy and I each carry, depending upon the length of the trip, either a 1 liter or a 2 liter bladder from Platypus typically. And then we also carry a smart water bottle full of water. And the amount of water we carry, of course, depends upon the journey that day and how much water we're going to need and where our next water source is, that kind of thing. So that's the carrying of the water. As far as filtering of the water goes, we've been using a Sawyer squeeze now for years. We love these things. They work great. They never break down. They always work, and they filter out all the muck. And so we're never concerned at all about the water source that we're drinking from. When you do carry one of these, of course, you have to have a way of introducing your dirty water into it. So you need to have a smart water bottle that's dedicated to your dirty water, or carry one of the Sawyer squeeze pouches that comes with the Sawyer squeeze. The Sawyer squeeze weighs 6.7 ounces and costs $39. Your first aid kit. Have one. Over the years, I have helped at least a half a dozen other hikers who were in trouble that needed first aid, and I had to bust my kit out for them. Also, I'm carrying this for obviously for 2 people, for me and my wife. So you've got to have a kit with you. It's senseless to go out there without having one with you. B, put together a custom kit. Don't go out and don't go to REI or some other place and buy one right off the shelf, because they have tons of things in them you don't need, and they don't have things you are going to need. So over time, you're going to learn what you have to have. This one looks like an off-the-shelf. It's not. This is just a pouch that somebody gave me years ago, and I kept it. So let me go through the contents. It's a long list, but let me go through the contents with you, and then tell you the weight and give you a few hints. Here we go. This kit of mine contains small bandages, a roller gauze bandage, an ace bandage and a safety pin, wound closure strips, otherwise known as butterfly closures, toenail clippers, small tweezers, a Spenco second skin blister prevention treatment, Soothe-A-Sting wipes, burn stop wipes, Neosporin, and medical tape. And on top of that, I have some medications. Ibuprofen for aches and painkillers. Ibuprofen is also known as hiker candy, in case you don't know that. I carry Benadryl, which is an anti-inflammatory, Pepsid, an antacid, Imodium, which is an anti-diarrheal, and everything is double sealed. I recommend that you double seal it so it's very waterproof, and then carry in a smaller pouch, carry the things you have to get to all the time, and then carry the other things in another pouch, and then they all go in this nice little container. They're very waterproof that way, and there you go. And now, the good news. This entire first aid kit weighs in at 5.8 ounces. That's no big deal. The cost, I'm going to estimate somewhere between 50 and 60 bucks for all the various ingredients that go inside of it. Hygiene on the trail, because after all, it's important that one looks and smells pretty on the trail, right? My overall comment on all these things is that note the size. Everything is on the small side. Perfect example of that is this toothpaste. If I'm going to be out for, let's say, 3 days on the trail, why do I need 6 days worth of, or a week of, or 2 weeks worth of toothpaste when I can get by this little tiny guy? So everything here that's kind of thought through. And let's go through these things a couple pieces at a time and talk about them. Toothpaste and toothbrush. We pick these because they're lightweight, and it is important, of course, to keep your teeth healthy on the trail. They weigh a total of 4 ounces and cost $5. We have a small to medium-sized pack towel here, lightweight, has multiple uses, 1 ounce, $5. Sunscreen and lip balm, again, small sizes, lightweight. They're important for comfort and skin tissue protection from the sun on the trail, 4.3 ounces and $5. Baby wipes and a cat trowel, lightweight, obvious uses, I won't go into that. Total weight of 6 ounces and a cost of about $12. 2 more things here. Hand sanitizer for, again, obvious reasons. You need to keep your hands clean so you don't get, infections and whatnot on the trail. And then this is a cut down bar of soap. We only take this when we're going to be passing through a town on a layover day and have the opportunity to shower somewhere. Otherwise, that would not be in here. For safety, and in a worst case scenario, would be for survival. On the left here, we have a compass. We carry this for redundancy, because if I have a complete and total electronics meltdown and I lose this guy, the PLB, and I lose my iPhone, then I've got this as a backup, and I can use that with my maps for orienteering. On the right, we have a whistle. Both Kathy and I carry one on the outside of our pack, so it's readily available. These items, both of them, will cost you about $7. In the middle here, we have a PLB, which stands for Personal Locator Beam. There are many types. Kathy and I landed on a DeLorme InReach Explorer many years ago, and have been using it ever since. There are others. Probably the most ubiquitous one you're going to see on the trail is the Spot device. These PLBs, Personal Locator Beams, run anywhere from $300 to $500. And besides the obvious uses of it for routing and mapping, and has a compass on it and those kinds of things, the 2 reasons why we have it the most is for its messaging capabilities. You'll see right here in the middle, the messaging. That is where I can text. Now, if you don't know, these are connected to 2 satellites all over the world. which means I can literally be in Nepal, I can be in Colorado, I can be in Alaska, I can be, it doesn't matter, anywhere in the world. This is connected to a satellite, so it's not a cell phone. And what that does is that gives me the ability to be reached, utilize this thing from anywhere in the world in an emergency. So I have my cell phone synced up with this, so I can use the worldwide messaging capabilities that this PLB has, but I can use the texting capabilities that my phone has. It always works out nicely. The other primary feature of all these PLBs is what we call the OMG button. If things go really bad, I can flip a switch right here to activate it. I can hit this SOS button, which I'm not going to do right now, and that will send out a beacon notifying the authorities that we are in trouble and need help, and they will contact us, and we can message them back and forth so they can keep up to date with what's going on with us. We can let them know what our problem is, and even if we were incapacitated, even worst case scenario, they could still find us because of the GPS capabilities this thing has. So all of these items together weigh a total of 7.5 ounces. And again, we think they're very necessary. We carry the whistle on the outside of our pack at all times, so it's readily available. And I can't see going outdoors, especially into very remote areas, without having all of these. Okay, very small but very important is a repair kit. This is a kit that we've put together over the years. This is what we have found that we kind of continuously need on the trail. It's lightweight, and it is needed to keep your gear functioning properly, whether we're talking about a torn sleeping bag or a punctured air mattress, torn shirt, or whatnot. So the components are, we found an old plastic bottle, and we have wrapped our duct tape around it. So there's the first component of our repair kit, is duct tape, multiple uses. Then inside of that kit, we take the patches needed for our air mattresses, slide that inside. Inside of that goes a needle and thread. There, I hope you can see that. That goes in here. And then the glue that is needed along with the patches for the air mattress. That goes in here. Pop the top. There's your little repair kit. And again, we have found that this is all we need. It weighs a total of 1.2 ounces, very light, and the components altogether are going to run you about $6. Our technical gear, which I actually have broken down into 4 different categories here: communications, charging, video and still photography, and our headlamp. Let's talk about each one of these categories now real briefly. The iPhone, obviously for connectivity, and as I mentioned earlier in the video, we have all of our apps stored on here. For charging, we have a Anchor battery. It's a 6,500 milliamp hour battery, so that's great for charging on the field. I can get 3 or 4 charges of my cell phone out of this battery. When we're in town, we can go to a wall plug this in. We have 2 USB ports, so we can charge 2 things at one time, which is very convenient and makes things go faster. I have a cord for my iPhone and a cord for my PLB, which I mentioned earlier. Photography wise, I have a bracket for my iPhone to clip it in, and I can clip that in either to a stick pick, which connects to my trekking pole, or to my GorillaPod that I can use for getting, some nice steady still shots. The head lamp is a Petzl. It's called a Petzl Tika, and we bought it because it's lightweight. We like the bright light that it produces, and we like the fact that it has several modes, which makes it very nice. So going back, let's talk about weight and price. 6.3 ounces and about $500. 6.7 ounces and about $55. 2.7 ounces and about $32, and 3 ounces and $29. That's a total weight of 12.4 ounces. Okay, let's get this video wrapped up now. Yes, we do carry clothing, and we do carry water and food, but as mentioned earlier, that is going to be in 2 upcoming videos, one on clothing and one on food and water. So let's wrap up the conversation about our gear. All the gear I've showed you in this video comes out to about 11 pounds. The clothing which will be in another video, comes out to 2 pounds, but I wanted to show you that so you got the total base weight, which for us is 13 to 14 pounds, depending upon the trip we're on. Now, it's also important for me to say that Kathy and I, in order to keep our individual weights down, we share the communal stuff. So what that means for us is that she carries half of the food, she carries half the tent, the PLB and the hygiene kit, while I carry half the food, half the tent, the electronics, the water filter, and the first aid kit. So that's the way that we've worked it out. Works out good for us. That way both of our packs are coming in at around 13 to 14 pounds. So thank you for watching. It's been a real pleasure. Please either like or comment or subscribe. And that would be great. Let's have a conversation. Let's keep it going. And I'll see you on the trail. Ta-da.